Welcome to the Tribe 66 podcast. I'm your host, Christie, and I'm so excited you're here today. It's going to be a good one, ladies. So if you're really looking to grow in discipline, grow spiritually, and really turn yourself into the woman that shows up every single day, even when you don't feel like it, this is the episode for you. I'm so excited to talk about this book today. Honestly, other than the Bible, this is probably the book in the last couple of years that has given me personally the most growth. So today we are going to be talking about Atomic Habits by James Clear. Now, if you've already read it, stay anyways, because, hey, I say if you read things a couple different times, you can have different takeaways from it. But honestly, if you haven't read this book, it's so good, ladies. There's so much good things in here that we can use every single day to help us make a great system in our lives. And these things and these goals we want to obtain, this book helps you get there. So I'm super excited to share all my takeaways and everything before we get started. But honestly, it's so funny. It's literally this like the third or fourth take of trying to record this episode. The struggle has been real this week, ladies, and just technology or something. I wore glasses yesterday and the little ring light camera was reflected and I couldn't use the video. And it has been just an absolute undertaking to get this recorded. But there must be a reason. Somebody out there is going to need this episode. So I'm super excited to share it with you. And the beginning of every episode, before I get going, I always like to put a Bible verse that goes along with what we're learning this week. So I chose this week to do Galatians 6:9, and it says, "Let us not become weary of doing good, for at the proper time we will reap a harvest if we don't give up." Listen, ladies, we can do hard things. We can. God is going to give us the strength, and in our weakness is His strength, His supernatural power. So if you're in a season of wanting to take on some new goals or achieve some new things, we can do it, and we can do it together. And this book is going to be an amazing resource to get us there. So before we get into it, I kind of wanted to break it down into a couple different sections. And really a good takeaway from me is when I first started reading this book, he was talking about having goals over a system. And I don't know if you're anything like me, you start off at the beginning of the year with good intentions. It's easy at the holidays. You're eating all the good food. You're swiping your card to buy gifts, and you kind of get off track. And then we all start off at the beginning of the year. All right, we've got some goals, maybe some weight loss goals, get our finances back in order. And we have good intentions and we've got goals, but we really don't implement a system to get there. And this book really helped me break it down, the difference between my goals and having a system in place. And he really talks about too, is really breaking these goals down, but making them attainable and making them very, very small. And he breaks down with this idea of you can do anything for 2 minutes. It's this 2-minute rule. And really, if you think about it, you really can just do about anything in 2 minutes. And it was interesting that this morning I was going on my morning walk. I usually put my headphones on and they have this beautiful country road in my neighborhood. And I was listening to a Mel Robbins podcast, and her guest she had on was talking about the health benefits and healthy eating and things like that. But she shared this awesome research that you only really need 10 minutes a day of high intensity. I'm talking like breathless activity where, it's hard to catch your breath. 10 minutes a day literally will give you the health benefits that you need to reduce your cardiovascular risk of stroke and heart attack and heart disease by 50%. By dying of cancer-related illnesses by 40%, by simply getting 10 minutes of intense cardiovascular workout a day. We've all kind of fallen in this trap of believing that you've got to work out for like 30 minutes to an hour to have those benefits. But she brought up this interesting fact that back in the 1960s. It actually was a company overseas that really kind of first put this idea out to the public because they were trying to sell pedometers, ladies, that really scientifically, there's no medical backing that you have to intense work out for an hour or so to get the benefits. It's 10 minutes. And she suggested breaking down these high intensity type of workouts for 2 to 3 minutes at a time. You know, so if you did that a couple times a day, maybe before you ate breakfast or after lunch and before you went to bed, you did jumping jacks or burpees or body weight squats really fast, that you would have benefits of your health that could add a decade into your life. You know, and it really made me think also, I was perfectly on track with this book. And he talks about, you don't think so, but 2 minutes. And if you can do anything for 2 minutes and you habitually stack that every single day, you're building the habit of showing up every single day. And those small, compound interest of things add up to big results, life-changing results in your health and any area that you really want to work on. So it's crucial in the beginning, ladies, to not really focus on the outcome, you might have a goal of, reading more books or being more in the Bible or working out, but it's not really about the results in the beginning. Is you're training your body and your mind to be the woman that shows up every single day. So we're going to talk about that week and building healthy habits in our life and how to do that in a way that, one, is easy and obtainable. Because I don't know about you, whether you're a mom or, you could still be single or you just have a, job or friendships, or you're trying to clean your house or grocery store or see your friend. Life gets so busy. And thinking about, on top of having to clean the dishes, take the kids here, do this, and keep my body healthy and work out can feel overwhelming. And a lot of times we simply don't do these things because it feels like, where am I going to fit that in my schedule? And I'm telling you, it's obtainable. It is absolutely obtainable. We just got to break these down into small little sections. So, and another thing he really talks about in the book that really changed my idea about it is, I always used to say to myself, I want to be healthier and I want to have these goals of doing these things, but I didn't really mentally change my identity about it. And he talks a lot about in the book here is we've got to change our identity in the way we're speaking to ourselves about the people we want to be. Example, like if I identify as a woman who is healthy, well, a healthy woman would eat healthy food. A healthy woman would exercise her body every single day. A healthy woman would probably pack her lunch from home versus go out and get, McDonald's every day during lunch. It's speaking these identities over herself that makes such a big difference. And casting that vote for yourself for the woman you want to be. I really went through a season of my life, especially last year when we were really short-staffed at my job and I had to work a lot of hours, a lot of time overtime in the holiday time. And I was really burnt out and the balance of my work life was really off and I felt burnt out. And unfortunately, my house took the toll for it. And I knew I needed to make a change, but I didn't know where to start. And I read this book and it gave me a great idea that, a tidy person would make her bed every day. And I thought, okay, well, that's just one thing. How's that really going to help? Well, I challenged myself that every day before I went to work, I made my bed. And by doing that, day after day, after the second week, I got this confidence in myself because I showed up every single day. And hey, when I came home from work and I'd be tired, I looked in my room and it looked tidy. My bed was made and my book was laid out there, what I wanted to do later. And I just felt like I had a little balance. Well, after a while, and I started getting that confidence of doing that, I said, well, hey, if I could make my bed today, maybe I can start a little laundry before I go to work. Maybe I'll fold it when I get home. Or maybe I'll just unload the dishwasher before I go to work. These activities didn't take longer than 2 to 3 minutes, but because I was showing up and doing a different section of my house every single day, on my day off, ladies, I got to actually relax. And I know a lot of you are like, what is that? And as a mom, or you're busy, or you're working, or just even as a single woman, it can be busy. Life is just busy. And anything I can do to make my life easier, make it more balanced, that's what I want to do. And I'm telling you, these little things that we do every single day and just taking a little intentionality, it makes a huge difference in changing your identity about it. If you identify as a woman after God's heart and a Christian woman, well, a Christian woman would be in the Word every single day. An example, every morning, let's face it, I don't know about you guys, I'm a coffee drinker. I probably have 2 or 3 cups a day. It keeps me going. I love my caffeine. But one thing you could do is like when I wake up in the morning, when I get my morning coffee, instead of just sitting down and start strolling on TikTok, I'm going to read a Bible verse. I'm going to stack that with something I do every single day. And let me tell you, those small little things make a difference, because that's what a Christian woman would do. And we just want to change that identity and speak positives over ourselves. I did talk about in another episode that I have my mirror every single morning, like, before I get around and wash my face, I write with a dry erase marker, just positive things that I want to speak over myself every single day. I say things like, never give up. It's a choice to be pitiful or powerful. God's going to pull you through this. And I just speak those over myself every single day, because I'm changing the identity of how I see myself and the type of person I want to be. And anytime we're trying to make any type of big life changes, it's important how we talk to ourselves and how we identify. And I think that's so important before we even start implementing these habits, that we start changing our identity around them. And give yourself some grace. Habits got to be established first before you can start to improving it as well. So just give yourself that grace, and just take everything one day at a time. Another thing he really talks about in this book that I really loved was lowering your activation energy. And you're probably like, what does that mean? So example, let's say you've got this great intention and the new habit you want to start this week to be more healthy and physical fit is you want to start getting back into working out. Well, let's say you wake it up in the morning, ladies. You know how that goes. The kid's already screaming, or the cat needs to be fed, or, oh my God, maybe you overslept and hit the snooze too many times and you're rushed. Now you're trying to find where your workout clothes, where's the other shoe that matches this shoe, and it can just be chaos. And before you know it, you've worked yourself up in a tizzy, and you're probably not even going to work out. I do that to myself a lot, or I used to. So I'm going to encourage us, and what he talks about this book is set yourself up for success. The night before, you want to go to the gym or you're going to work out, pull out all your workout stuff. Get your ear pods, get your leggings, your sports bras, your shoes, everything. Put it in a place that, one, you can visually see, and it's literally right there where you can grab it when you wake up in the morning if you're trying to get a workout done in the morning. A lot of the times we talk ourselves out of it because it's so much energy to even get to the activity we're trying to do that we already talk ourselves out of it. So, maybe if it's right by your nightstand or the end of your bed or in the bathroom or wherever you get dressed in the morning, set yourself up for success. If you want to read more books, place books around different spots in your house. I have a book everywhere. There's one over here by the couch. There's one on my nightstand. There's a couple down here in the Zen den. I even have some sitting on the kitchen table. If you're whatever you're trying to do, leave yourself little hints and clues of the things that you're going to do later. It's a small little intentions that make a big difference. And it's just like, we've got to make it easy and make it accessible, make it attractive, and make it fun. When I first wanted to get back into working out before I'd go into, if I was working out at the gym or a new workout class, I'd treat myself. I would get, a new workout top or a workout outfit. And it gave me something to look forward to when I was starting this exercise versus dreading it. I get to put on my new leggings today, and it gave me excitement to go to try this new things, and maybe invite a friend to come with you, but, make it something that you're looking forward to doing. And if you're not a runner, then maybe, you're not going to the goal might not be a 5K this year. Maybe it's try a Zumba class or try a Pilates studio out or, try a couple things out that are going to be fun for you. And you'll probably will stick with that, especially if you're trying to get back into working out. Another example, if make it easy for yourself, less activation energy, if you're trying to eat healthier, spend maybe a Sunday or a weeknight, meal prep. Spend maybe an hour or two making all your meals for the week so it's easy to prepare to go. So instead of that, oh my God, I don't have anything for lunch, I'm going to have to order out again today or just go out to eat with coworkers while you're working, you've already got your meal made. Another thing, set yourself up for success. And honestly, one of my favorite things that's a vice versa this that he taught in the book is do the same, but switch it up for things you don't want to do. So let's say same example, you're trying to eat healthier. Now, on my nightstand, I'm a big reader. I spend most of my time at night on my bed reading books. But in my nightstand, I had a drawer with a bunch of snacks in it. Well, it was all right at first. Oh, I will just have a little bit of my pretzels or whatever. But before you know it, Oreos were in there. I mean, this thing was stacked to the max, ladies. Okay. Not proud of it, but it's the truth. But when I was reading, it's my comfort thing to want to eat. So I had to break that bad habit. So my kitchen is on the other side of the house. So to set myself up for success, I had to grab all those snacks and put them all the way up at the tallest cabinet. I don't know if anybody's like you. It's like that 5'2", which what is the point of that top of cabinet? I don't know anyways, because you can never get to it. But that's where I put my snacks, ladies, okay? I have to literally get a chair to crawl up on the thing to get my snacks. And let me tell you, by parading that thing, most of the time I'll be sitting there at night reading my book. And I'm so lazy because I'm relaxed and reading that I don't want to go all the way over to the other side of the house to climb up Mount Everest to get my snack. I'll talk myself out of it. And let me tell you, I do a lot less nightly snacking. If you're trying to save money or you're a little bit of a Target addict, which let's face it, who isn't? They get you with that little $1 or $5 thing right when you walk in the store. It's the worst. I can't even look at it, ladies. You need to delete the Target app, okay? You need to put your card in the filing cabinet. Whatever you got to do to create some resistance against the thing that you're trying not to do. These are very, very good things. And I'm going to tell you, they add up and they make a difference. So we're going to do that this week, ladies. Whatever the thing we're going to try to do this week, Whether it's eating healthier, we're going to start working out. We challenge ourselves. We want to be reading in the Bible every single day. We're going to set ourselves up for success. And we're going to create a system in our life to help us get there. And I kind of wrote down an example for you ladies of what my daily system is. And I know for a lot of people, they think it's like restricting or boring to literally do the same thing every day. And at first, when I read this book, I was like, because I'm a very adventurous person. I love to travel. I like to try new foods, go out with my friends. And the thought of having to do the same thing every day made me honestly want to puke. But I will tell you, by creating the system of my life, it's given me that sense of balance and control back. And I was a little surprised by that. And it made the things that I wanted to do and the balance of my life attainable. And I don't know about you ladies, but I want more peace and balance in my life. And it's so busy and it's really hard to balance kids and sports and lives and Bible studies and travel and all these things without a system in place. I honestly think it's pretty much impossible. If you just wake up every day of your life and just hoping for the best, girl, you're about to be on a ride, okay? So I'm going to give you an example of what my daily system is. So I usually wake up about 6 o'clock. So I'll run upstairs, got my little Tribe 66 mug, pour my coffee, and immediately I come down to this room. This is my Zen den. I come in here and I get into my quiet time with God. And usually every morning can be a little bit different, but I'm probably down here a good 30 minutes to an hour just reading in the Bible. I'd like to put on some like meditation or worship music. And then after I read a little bit in the Bible, my prayer, I'll kind of sit in silence. I love that moment because it clears my mind and allows God to speak into me of what he wants to say. Then after I'm done with that, I immediately go to making a social post for Tribe 66 or my travel page or whatever I'm doing. And I'll do that. Then immediately after I make my social post, I put on these little shoes that I have sitting right at the end of my walking pad and I hop on it. And I flip on my TV and I'll either watch a podcast or I'll put on worship music. But bonus, I'm habit stacking by putting a healthy thing that I want to do with a thing that I enjoy. I enjoy learning. I enjoy listening to audiobooks. Sometimes I'll just put an audiobook on. But before I know it, when I'm watching my show or I'm watching my podcast, a good 30, 45 minutes have passed and I've walked a couple miles. Check. Reading or learning something new, and I'm exercising. So then after I'm done with that, I go clean a section of my house. And in the book, he calls this the Zorro. And that like old school, I don't even know when that was from, but the guy that had the big whip, his name was Zorro and he had like the mask on. He's like, I want you to picture, you've got this whip and it's Zorro and you were literally circling an area of your house. Don't get overwhelmed by all the things you need to do. Just tackle one area. And I'm telling you, ladies, this is where the aha click in change happened in my life. When I stopped spending my one day off, I had a week burning myself, cleaning my house for 7 to 8 hours. I do a different section every single day. I never leave before I go to work without cleaning something. Maybe it'll just be the unloading of the dishwasher. Maybe it'll be the kitchen that day, or maybe it'll just be one of the hall bathrooms. But by showing up 7 days a week, it stays maintained. So on my off days, I can actually rest. Rest. It's amazing. It makes me want to cry just thinking about it. I can't wait to get to my rest days. And even God says in the Bible on the seventh day, it's a Sabbath, ladies. We are not meant to go. One, we get burnout, we get crabby, and it just doesn't work. And you need rest. You need to have days to treat yourself and take a bubble bath or read or, God forbid, take a nap. Oh my God, I had a nap yesterday. It about changed my whole life. I felt amazing after that. We need to do these things for each other, but by creating a healthy system in our lives that we're doing these things every single day, it gives us that time that we can rest our bodies. And then after that, after I'm done with my workout, I clean an item, I'll go, get my lunch packed up in my lunch pail, and then I'll hop into a shower. I always flip on some worship music and I do my shower, and I also habit stack on that as well. Before I'm allowed to get in the shower, ladies, I know it sounds crazy, but I have to do 20 to 25 body weight squats before I get in and before I get out. And I know it sounds crazy, but it has helped keep me toned. It's just something I'm like, hey, I got to take a shower every day. I might as well stack something on top of it. Bonus, toning those legs, getting clean at the same time. This is awesome. And he talks a lot about it in the book. Habit stacking. We have got to become habit stacking ladies. And I'm talking, you can do it with everything. You're a coffee drinker. You're a tea drinker. Stack reading a Bible verse. If you want to become a woman that is more consistent with being in prayer and being in quiet time, stack it on something you already do. Or maybe it's on, you go into work every day. Well, guess what? Flip on, a podcast or read, have the Bible verse, read it to you through your car speaker. Just stack it on somewhere that you will be consistent. And I'm telling you, these little changes add up. Like I say, I always want to read a book or I want to learn something new every day. I just stack it with exercise. One, it makes it more enjoyable for me because honestly, I'm going to confess, I really don't like exercise that much. You really got to force me to do it. But by doing it with something I enjoy, it makes it so much more enjoyable. So I just want you to encourage us the weeks. Be thinking of ways that we could stack the things we want to with things we're already doing. Example, at nighttime, I always brush my teeth before I go to bed. That's the moment that I'll say a prayer before or after I brush my teeth, because I'm really good in the morning. I'm getting my quiet time in the morning, but I notice the end of my day, I slack off a little bit, and I always want to start and end my day with God. So I challenge myself, hey, brush my teeth. Well, I need to say a prayer or something before I do it. Or maybe I'll read a Bible verse, whatever it is, but you can pretty much habit stack anything, ladies. So definitely get creative with this, and it will definitely keep your system, and you're going to get so much more done because you're stacking stuff on top of each other. It's absolutely fantastic. Highly recommend it. And then 2, that's it. That's my morning routine. I do it every single day, never fail. Anybody who knows me, I'm working out 7 days a week. I am cleaning something in my house 7 days a week, and by doing these, everything stays balanced and I don't feel overwhelmed because I'm breaking it up into really small time blocks. And then of course, I'll get home from work. Depending on the night, if I have a late shift, I may have already prepped a dinner, or, we'll come home, we'll eat, we'll kind of do that. And I always have at 8:30 every single night, me and my younger boys come up into my bed and I do Bible study with my son, because it's very important, I think, as parents or, even as friends or whatever, we want to encourage the people around us to have a relationship with Christ. And I feel responsible, for my children to teach them in the way, and God says, train your children in it when they're young and they won't depart it when they're older, and I'm a strong believer in that. So every single night, me and my sons, the alarm is on my phone. Like I said, he says in the book, leave yourself clues. So I know when that alarm goes off at 8:30, I'm calling my boys in and we're sitting down and we go through a Bible verse and we have a prayer together. And I just do this every single day. And let me tell you, it keeps me in the Word every day. It keeps me balanced. It keeps me in this sense of, I don't know if you're anything like me, but I'm an Aries type A control freak. And I'd like to know what's happening, what's going on. And it helps me keep my life feel like it's balanced. And I have a sense of control of what's going on. I used to live just day by day and just hoping for the best. And I'm telling you, ladies, life is hard. But like I said, we can do hard things and God is going to be there with us. So I just want to encourage us, ladies, to lower that activation energy, make it easy, make it accessible, and be very intentional. We can't just be like, I'm going to work out this week. Well, that's great. We need to be intentional of when are we going to work out? Where are we going to work out? What time are we going to work out? A lot of the time we're just too vague. If I say I'm going to work out this week, well, it's Tuesday. Well, the week don't end till Sunday. Technically, I'm doing the plan. But the point is, it's when we're not intentional of when or where we're going to do this, it's so easy to make excuses and it's easy to fall off. And all of a sudden, Tuesday, you blink. Well, now it's Saturday and you've not done the things you said you were going to do. I'm going to encourage you, and I'm a big, kind of like a journal, calendar nerd. I highly recommend you get one, get a new one, get yourself a system in your life and just kind of map it out. But all right, I know my goal this week and I want to get back to being healthier, feeling better. And I'm going to challenge myself to get that 10 minutes of vigorous exercise a day. And in order to do that, I'm going to have to break this up to a few minutes. So when, where, and how am I going to do this? And get it on that calendar, write it down. And then while you're at it, stack it with something you like to do. Maybe you have your own personal podcast you like, or your favorite, musician or band you like to listen to. Whatever makes it joyful for you, it's going to get you to get there, then do it. And write down and be intentional when, where. So we cannot make these excuses to not show up. Because let me tell you, no matter what, they can give you all the things and all the tools to have success. But really where the breakthrough happens is when we stop making excuses and when we become the women who show up even when we don't feel like it. And let me tell you, there's days where I just don't feel like it. If I'm being honest with you, there's days that the only energy I have, ladies, to get on that thing is for 3 to 5 minutes. and I get off. But you know what? Check. I worked out. I showed up. And you know what? Some days you got more energies enough and than others, and that's okay. Give yourself grace. But it's not about being perfect, ladies. It's not about perfection. It's about showing up and creating that confidence in yourself that I can do hard things and I can do the things that I set the goal and to do. That I'm the woman that shows up every single day. Because I'm telling you, when you start believing that in yourself and when you start showing up and you are casting those votes for yourself of the woman you're becoming, let me tell you, you become unstoppable. And let me tell you, this right here, Tribe 66, is completely that. You know, I was terrified to put my face out on the internet, if I'm being quite honest with you. This is an absolute obedience to God to be here, to be spreading that and encourage women that you can do anything you set your mind to because God is there with you. And let me tell you, I've been in some really dark places, ladies, and some really scary things. But let me tell you, God has got me through, and I had to learn, and I had to grow, and I had to fail forward. And I just want to be here to encouraging you on to say that we can do the things that God has called us to do. And He has a purpose for you. He has a path for you, and He is writing your story. And I'm going to tell you, I'm going to be right here with you and encouraging you on. And I have love to grow and to learn. And I have learned so much wonderful stuff over these last couple of years and got some really hard lessons for God. And I'm really excited to come on this journey with you and to help you grow and to help you learn and just to be the best version of yourself. And whatever's been on your mind, whatever's been you've been feeling in your heart lately, this thing that you've been scared to start, I'm going to tell you, don't be afraid. Do it. Because I'm going to tell you, God's going to be there with you. He's going to place the people in your path and you can do it. And I'm going to be right here encouraging you on. And we're just going to do it and we're going to grow together. And I'm telling you, get this book, ladies. If you like to read, get this book. I'm going to put a link below where you can get it, but it's just absolutely phenomenal. And it's really, really just going to change your life, you know? And like I said, the challenge this week, ladies, is going to be to identifying what is an area of my life this week that I want to improve on? Maybe it is to get my money in order. Maybe it is just to read more, to learn more. Maybe it is to be in God's word more. Maybe I'm finally going to start that weight loss journey. I'm finally going to get this credit cards paid off. I am ready. I'm ready to stop making excuses and I'm ready to show up. I want us to identify what that thing is this week. Okay, ladies? And then I want you to break that down into small little things. You know, I know it sounds so small, just 2 to 3 minutes, but I want to encourage you. I'm going to show up to read for 2 to 3 minutes a night. I'm going to read a Bible verse for 2 to 3 minutes a day. I'm going to go on a walk or do some kind of vigorous exercise for 3 to 5 minutes at a time. Maybe you have to do it a few times a day to get to that 10 minutes, to get that health benefits. But I'm telling you, I want to encourage you, and you can do it. I want you to pick a place, a day, when and where you're going to do it. And show up every single day. Sit here, get a little journal this week. You know, I go to like that 5 and Below. I talked about it before. They have the cutest little journals and calendars, and they're cheap, ladies. I'm about saving money up in this group, okay? We ain't going to be spending no $20 on a journal. We're going to the Dollar Tree or the 5 and Below, because I don't know about you. That's the kind of budget I am, because I want to save for my retirement. I want to save for later. You know, I don't want to work forever. I don't know about you, but I want to retire at a lake house somewhere one day. But the choices I make today get me there. Get you a new journal today. Make it attractive. Make it fun. You know, make it cute. Get you a new workout shirt if you're going on a new weight loss journey. Whatever it is to you, you know, get there. Be intentional. Leave yourself a clue. If you know you're going to be working out or you want to work out tomorrow, we need to be putting those workout outfits on the end of the bed, lady. If you want to read the book when you get home, you need to place it where you're going to be. And don't make excuses. Just go right there. Do it. Show up. Show up for yourself because you're worth it. Because you can do hard things. This has been, my pastor talked about it this Sunday, and I'm telling you, it encouraged the women's at my Bible study here today. And I want you to speak over yourself. I want you to write that somewhere in your house. I want you to put it in a Post-it note in your car. And I want you to speak that over yourself this week. I can do hard things. And you can. and create a system in your life. And while you're at it, habit stack something. Give yourself permission to get this stuff in order and to get a system down in your life so you can have an off day, so you can have rest because you deserve it. And God wants you to have that too. He doesn't want you burnt out and all cranky. Want to snap at your kids every 5 minutes. Give yourself that time. Invest in yourself by these things so you can have that rest that you deserve. And we got to master the art of showing up because that's really where it's at. We can sit all day long and we can put in these journals, ladies, and all these things. But if we don't show up, even when we don't feel like it, it's not going to work. It's not by you see somebody over here doing the things you want to do. She doesn't have more motivation than you. She doesn't have more grit than you. She just mastered the skill of showing up when she didn't feel like it. And that's when your life is going to change. That's when you're going to push back. That's when you're going to have the most growth because God grows us in our trials and our hard seasons. And like I said, you can do hard things. Growth happens when you show up when nobody's watching, when no one's patting you on the back. You're doing it to become a better person. And let me tell you, in those moments when you feel you can't do it, that's why I want you to come and just get on your knees, ladies, and just pray to God. God, I need your strength right now because I do not feel like doing this, but I know I want to do these things. Help me to do it. And let me tell you, ask and you shall receive. And I have to go to my prayer closet a lot because there's a lot of days I don't want to, but I know it's good for me. And I know it's good for my sons that when I show up, when I say I'm going to, and when we put those healthy boundaries in our lives. And I'm telling you, when you finally get that balance in and you're getting a good structure in your life, it's just amazing. I feel so much more balanced and my body is healthy and my finances are in order and I'm becoming the woman that I wanted to be. But I had to show up every day. And I know you can do it, ladies. So this week, that's going to be the challenge. And I'm going to put the Grace and Growth group link below. And I'm going to put in here of something that I'm working on this week. And I'm just going to encourage you guys. I know it's hard. It's scary to put yourself out there. I've got my face blasted all over the internet and I don't love it all the time. But I'm going to encourage us to get brave with each other and to really grow together. This group is a safe place that we can grow and we can share. And I want us to encourage us on. So in this group below, I really challenge us a week to put in a new habit we're trying to create, whatever that is for you. And I want us to be in there encouraging each other on. Maybe post a picture of where you're from or the things you're working on. If you're going on a walk or you're doing the exercise or you're picking up that book. I want us to encourage each other, ladies, and to know that having a community around you and having accountability partners is so important. Because you're going to have those days, you're going to have those weeks that you're going to feel burnt out and you're going to need somebody there to say, hey, you told me to tell you to never to quit. That when you started feeling tough, and if I see you backpedaling, to hold you accountable and that you can do these things. And we all need those type of people in our lives. And we need people praying over us and encouraging us. And if you ain't growing, then you need to get a better tribe around you. And I'm going to tell you, I know you don't know me yet, but I'm going to pray over you and I'm going to encourage you on. Because if I can do it, you can do it. So I'm excited this week, ladies. I want us to show up. I want us to encourage each other. And if you've got somebody, or maybe you're already in a group, tag somebody, share this episode with them. Say, hey, you know what? We're finally going to do the things that we said we were going to do. Let's get together. Let's start a workout group together. Let's finally get these financial. Let's hold each other accountable for the things we want to do. And share this episode with somebody. Find yourself an accountability partner. Drop where are you from? Where's the habit you're trying to start this week? And like I said, we're going to encourage each other and we're going to grow. And I'm really here soon going to post this first podcast episode this week. And I'm going to be on there, ladies, every single week. I'm going to give us some fun challenges to help us grow, help us learn together. And I really envision this being a safe place for women to come together and to learn and to grow and just to, connect in a way that's hard to connect nowadays. Even though we live in a place of there's so much noise out there in social media, it still can feel very isolating and lonely. And I want us to click in with each other. I want us to grow together and, have people in your life. God didn't want us to go through life alone. and that's really why he put on my heart. I know it, for Tribe 66 to be. So I'm super excited. I'm so thankful that you tuned in to listen to this episode. Definitely get a copy of this book. It's a game changer. There's so much stuff in here that is just amazing that you can implement in your life. And it's really a blessing. It was a blessing to me. So definitely check it out. And thank you for listening, ladies. I'm praying over you. I hope you have a blessed week. And I know you can do it, because you can do hard things, ladies. So have a blessed week. See you next episode.